And so we decided that we were going to give it a shot, not having a slightest idea of what we were doing.
This is why I love you, because you're exactly like me. It's like, do I know what I'm doing? Nope. Am I going to do it anyway? Yep.
We're 6 years in,
here
and
we
I
are.
still don't know if I'm doing it.
Not a clue, but it's working.
Yeah.
Right.
Something's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're listening to Premeditated Opinions because, yes, we thought about it, and then we said it anyway. I'm Pamela.
And I'm Josh, and we are two people who somehow share a brain and decided to weaponize our brains with microphones. Each week, we unpack anything, from politics and religion to carpool dread and everything in between.
You know, it would really help us a lot if you followed us on Instagram and YouTube. Giving us a like and a follow is probably the best thing your thumbs will do today.
We are not experts. We are just way too confident in our own opinions. With all that being said, let's get started. All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Premeditated Opinions. We are thrilled to be joined today by two longtime dear friends of mine, Justin and Patrick, who run an organization called LGBTQ Outdoors. We're going to talk a lot about that here in a little bit. But these are just fine humans that we are thrilled to introduce you to, and we really hope that you guys glean as much from this conversation as I have from knowing them for the many years that I have, because we met a very long time ago. I actually don't. What year would that have been? Because that would have been. We met at church. We met at Lovers Lane UMC in Dallas, and that would have been 2012.
Somewhere
I
around
think.
there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, something like
Okay.
2012.
Yeah.
And that's just forever ago. And so, yeah, we met there because my spouse started singing at one of the services that was there, and she was very pleasantly surprised at this wonderful community that she was a part of and kept speaking so highly of it. And then I ended up making a professional transition myself, and I ended up joining her at Lovers Lane, and that's where we all connected. And man, it was just that season of my life actually produced some of the greatest community of my life. Like I still look back on that as sort of the origin of a lot of relationships that I had. And then Pamela, you had the chance to kind of jump in and meet these two fellas at Dallas Pride. Well,
I met Patrick at your birthday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I met Justin. We were doing the Dallas Pride Parade.
Right.
We were with the LGBTQ Outdoor float.
Yeah,
So,
being pulled
yeah.
by Krista's Jeep.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, which is fun and hilarious all by itself. But yeah, so we just, there's been a lot of crossover. So Patrick and I work regularly together, and Justin and I have worked off and on together. Him as a photographer, and then Patrick as a lighting designer and director for the event work that I'm involved with. And so there's just tons of sort of cross-pollination. It's hard to even know where to start. But I figure a really fun place to start would be, so how did you two end up meeting each other? You know, how did you guys get connected, and how did you land at Lovers Lane UMC as well?
We officially met for the first time at a friend's pool party.
Nice.
And so we were hanging out, and he was sitting across the table from me having a beer, and I just kept staring at him, not to be like creepy, but
It was so creepy.
I was like, I know you. Like we'd never met before, but like just something like connected there. And I could not shake the feeling. So like at the end of the night, he's walking away, and I chase after him and meet him on the driveway. And
He's got a mask on.
Right.
I was thinking more like a little puppy coming in.
Right, yeah.
No,
Okay,
Patrick.
okay.
Took a dark turn.
Yeah, yours went dark.
that too. But like I asked for his phone number, which is like really, really awkward and foreign to me. Like I'm no good at the flirting game.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Worth enough. So yeah, it took a little bit, a couple months of like poking and prodding and trying to convince him to go on like an actual date with me. But it worked.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And here you are, how many years later?
About a little over 15.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And Krista and I actually sang at y'all's wedding.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's the first same-sex wedding we ever actually sang at. We've done a handful of others since, but that was a formative experience for us in a lot of ways. But so how did you guys actually wind up at Lovers Lane UMC all those years ago? Do you remember?
That's a good question. I don't know specifically. I
Yeah.
know we went, we were checking out a couple other churches that we were a part of. His church background was very different than mine, in some ways, especially more currently what we wanted. And we weren't sure what we wanted. And I'm not sure how we even found out about Lovers Lane.
So I feel like you were doing some work at the local gay church, and one of the pastors there introduced you to the current executive pastor at Lovers Lane.
Oh, okay.
And y'all started talking about mission work, and then we checked out the modern worship service.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yeah.
remember it.
I don't remember it, so sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
But we went, and you and Krista were leading worship, and we just fell in love with it and the sense of community that was there, and felt like it was the right place for us at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And in a lot of ways, that's that was Krista and I's experience. Was, you know, the community of it was really the draw. It wasn't there was plenty about that space that I wished was different in some of how they executed things and managed things and whatever. But the people that were there were so fantastic that it made us want to show up. And so yeah, we started hanging out with y'all at some point. There's no way I'm gonna remember how all that got going. But I have a vivid memory of the first time that you and I worked together, Patrick. It was when I was with a previous production company, and we produced a event for this restaurant chain. And I remember having a conversation with you at one point, and you're like, "Yeah, I've done some lighting before at previous employers and blah blah blah." And so I was like, "Hey, come do lighting." and you did, and it was great. And I'm sure we all look back on it now and go, "Boy, we've come a long way."
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because I think I scared the crap out of you. And then that event too was just it was a comedy of errors. I mean, we were just it wasn't being managed well. It had nothing to do with us, you and me. But it was not managed well, and we were constantly putting out major fires, and it was 20-hour days, and it was brutal. And I think we all walked away from that going, I don't want to do that again. But we liked working together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a learning opportunity.
Boy, was it. Yeah. But then, since then, we've done a ton of work together. We have some work coming up on the books next year. And so, there's a lot that we've done that I'm very, very proud of. But you guys have done some really cool stuff. So both of you, so what I want to understand is there's maybe a group of people who would be surprised to learn that people who are within the lifestyle that you guys are in now grew up in such, outdoor friendly environments. And I think that's probably something that's a little bit foreign to a decent amount of people. I'll admit that it was something I hadn't even really considered before you guys started the nonprofit that you're running now. So talk to me a little bit about just how you grew up and what your relationship was with the outdoors, and kind of how things came online for you as far as outdoor experiences and those sorts of pursuits.
Yeah, I know for me, like, I grew up in the country in Missouri. So, like, outdoors was just life,
Yeah.
But there would be times where we'd go camping, and our church would go on canoe trips and just different things. And we were always active and loved the outdoors. Grew up hunting and fishing and all of the things that you would in country life, pretty much. And so I loved that. And after coming out in 2010, and moving to Dallas, moved to Dallas in 2005, so it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
But after going through this process of coming out, I had realized I had not been connected to the outdoors for a while. And that's where all this started coming from, was because I wanted to be able to get connected again to the outdoors. I can also pass for a cis straight guy and fit right into any outdoor group that I wanted to, but I didn't want to do that because it'd be easy for me just to fall back and hide my identity and didn't want to do that, which led to starting it all.
That's interesting to me. I'm curious to hear a little more about that, because what was it about that environment that made you feel uncomfortable being yourself?
You live in Texas as well.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But like, yeah, I mean,
Was it just like at the
overall-
time, just still not really? I mean, because obviously here we are in 2025. Yes, there are still lots of issues with, LGBT,
Rights and
Yeah.
and perceptions and things like
Yeah.
that. But it's obviously a lot more progressive now than it probably was back then. And
Yeah.
and I understand that. I don't know. I guess maybe I've been progressive for so long that I'm just kind of like, what's the problem here? Like,
Problem.
Yeah.
Well, there are different categories too, you could say, or levels in the outdoor world. And so you might have people that, and this isn't 100% across the board by any means, obviously, but you might have people that are more into hiking and fly fishing that might be more on the progressive side, outdoors people, versus the community where I grew up in, which was a lot more hunting, fishing, a lot more conservative overall. So in my mind, the outdoors was always just more about the conservative population that was enjoying it more than the progressive side of it. And I grew up in a church where it was very clear, if you're gay, you're going to hell,
Right.
type of a thing. So like
did you know then?
that I was gay. Oh, I knew since I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Oh, yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I know a lot of people don't, and people are like, "There's no way you could know that before." My first crush was my best friend in kindergarten.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I was gay. I didn't know what that was called or what that was specifically then. But yeah, it didn't take too long to figure things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Patrick, did you grow up in kind of a similar outdoorsy kind of environment?
Not as extreme. I grew up in Houston, so like very much a city boy, even though it is Texas. But we went whitewater rafting like quite a bit, fishing, camping, like constantly doing something in the outdoors. And it kind of fell off my radar, like as I grew up and went to school and started working, and when he started talking about, the outdoors and the Instagram that he started, which we'll get to in a minute, I was like, man, I really missed that. And it's not, yes, it's adventure. Like we went pack rafting in Alaska this summer, brought back like all the memories of rafting down the river. It was amazing. And like the challenge and the adrenaline, but also like the peace in like the quiet moments and the healing from like this gorgeous sunset. Like those are sort of these magical experiences that I can't get sitting inside watching TV or at a bar with like going on,
Yeah.
So it kind of took a weird route to get there, but being able to do this with Justin definitely got me back in love with the outdoors.
Yeah. So did y'all like when I was growing up? My dad had a couple of different just outdoorsy eras, but nothing ever really stuck. But the one thing that I feel like I could actually go and do with maybe the tiniest bit of success today is fishing. Like he did a ton of fishing. I don't actually have a single piece of tackle or gear or a fishing rod or anything. But I'm wondering, like, are there particular genres of outdoor activities that really appeal to you now? Like, I feel like I could go out and fish and have a good time with that. What are you guys really into at this point? Or is it kind of all of it?
That's a great question.
What's one
I
thing you look
think-
forward to when you're getting ready to do one of these trips?
There's so much about it. Like for me, as long as I'm getting outside, I'm going to enjoy pretty much what I'm going to do. And I've said this too, like I'll try anything outdoors once, whatever.
Is there
whatever the
always
case.
something that you have to do when you go?
Oh, no,
No,
not necessarily.
not like a hike or.
No.
Okay.
No. My biggest things probably would be camping and fishing. Would be two of my bigger things right now. Love wildlife photography as well. But no, as long as I'm out there not freezing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
having a good
I get
time.
that.
Oh, yes. Man, I really wish Josh was here.
Yeah, the other one,
So,
not
no,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
My husband is big in camping. We used to do, I used to call it hardcore camping, where we would just packs on our back and we would go out to Red River Gorge in Kentucky. We would hike for 6 miles or however long, and on these very kind of obscure trails at the time. Not many people, like there were certain books that had been written about these unofficial trails. So we would kind of go out on those, and then we would set up hammocks with tarps. And I remember the one time we went, it started raining. Like we were hurrying, trying to get everything set up because it was getting ready to rain. But then we got to fall asleep with the rain on the
That's
tarp.
The
And
best.
and it was
The best.
pitch black at night. Like you couldn't, you're doing this and just nothing. Like I can't see my hands, I can't see anything, but I had my Kindle. And that is the one thing I look forward to. I'm like, my husband likes to go out and hike and look for waterfalls. There's a lot of waterfalls in that area. And so he likes to find the waterfalls and take pictures. And I'm like, you go do that. I'm going to hang out in the hammock with my bug net and my Kindle, but with the dog and the fire. And I'm set. Like, that's what I look forward to.
And like, I'm so glad you said that, because when we talk about the outdoors, so many people think, oh, I've got to go buy like the kayak and the backpack. And like everybody experiences the outdoors differently and in varying degrees. Some people like getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go climb a 14,000 foot mountain in Colorado, or some people, will go like on a leisurely sunset stroll. Like, so whatever the outdoors kind of means to you and whatever you get out of it, like, cool, do that. That's your thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I recently said it out loud. Like, I am not the biggest fan of big hikes. I'm like, this is a lot of work. We go somewhere.
Elevation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It would be
That is
probably a
fair.
little bit more.
Yeah.
We had a pretty challenging hike in Alaska this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of bugs. And I mean,
I noticed that on your YouTube of your podcast. I mean, the whole time you're just like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, the flies are out of control. That shit.
Oh man.
And like
you needed a citronella.
just like.
Yep.
But and once we got up there, like it was cool, it was beautiful, it was amazing. We took our pictures, and then like we're coming down, and it's easier on the way down usually. But still, that's a lot of effort.
It is. You're
It is.
tired, So okay, Justin, you kind of had the idea for. Well, okay, I don't even want to really set it up for you. I want to kind of hear the setup. So. You're now running a nonprofit that's doing all these amazing trips, and you've built this great community and all of this. What's that origin story? Like, where did the idea come from? How did it start? And kind of give us a little bit of just that on-ramp to how this thing even came to be.
Yeah. So it came back to, again, after coming out and then wanting to reconnect with the outdoors, just figuring out how to make that happen.
Yeah.
A lot of people, at the time were living in Dallas, and it's like Dallas, Texas is not considered the most outdoorsy place you
It's
can be.
really not.
It's really not.
I don't think that's why we haven't really gone anywhere, because everybody's like, oh, go to Broken Bow or somewhere like
It's 3.5 hours away.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're just like, can we just like, is there somewhere to hike like where we could just drive?
Yeah.
Which there
Like,
is.
Yeah.
It's just it's not the same. It's different. But I wanted to be able to reconnect with getting outside, whatever that looked like, especially with now that I was fully accepting of who I was and what this all would look like, and really wanting to find people to do it with. That was kind of the big thing, and there just wasn't anything. I think at that time there was one other organization that was doing things in the Northeast with the queer community, and other than that, I don't think that we really knew of any other opportunities. REI had some kinds of workshops and stuff that they did and whatnot, but just wasn't the community I was really looking for. And so, and I know this isn't across the board either, but especially in my community at the time, there's the big stereotype that gay people didn't like the outdoors.
Right.
And I was like,
yeah.
No, we do. Like I know a lot of them are into the bars and shopping and concerts and all that, but it doesn't mean there isn't a big population of us that like the outdoors. But I didn't know where to turn with all of this and whatnot. So ended up starting a Instagram account, which at the time was LGBT Outdoors. And I think it wasn't too long after that, or maybe around the same time, I got the domain as well, LGBT Outdoors, for $9.99.
Right.
Like, how is that a thing? You know,
Right.
it's like a $5,000 domain now. But,
Yeah.
Nice.
just in case if something ever happened. But the idea was I wanted to feature other LGBTQ people on it to try to break down the stereotype that the queer community doesn't like the outdoors, and also try to inspire our community to be like, you can go do this as
Right.
well and be a part of it. And then this was in June, which I think was an accident that it was in Pride Month of 2019. And then it wasn't, but 3 or 4 months later, we started receiving these messages that I was just like, how do we handle these? Because it was like, hey, I've been looking for something like this, and I found my people, and like, I want to get involved. And I'm like, it's an Instagram account, y'all.
Right.
Like,
Not anymore. It's not.
What do you think we're doing here?
Yeah.
And so we talked more, and I'm trying to figure this all out. And at the time, I definitely did not ever want to start a nonprofit again. Long story, but I had one before doing work with AIDS and HIV kids in Africa, and ended up having it taken away from me because when I came out, they were like, the board, very conservative board, they were just like, gay people aren't fit to be working with kids, basically, and took it away, shut it down. So like, when you start something like that as a nonprofit, it might be your dream and your idea and your baby, but you're not the one that has ultimate control over it.
Right.
So I was like, I'm never doing that again. That was horrible.
Yeah.
So, but we're talking, and we ended up starting a website then because we had the domain. And at that time, it was pretty much just a blog where we had other queer people from the outdoors that liked doing things outside share from a queer person's perspective on how to do kayaking, backpacking, camping, fishing, whatever it was. And then we kept getting the messages. I found my people. I want to get involved. I want to get involved. I want to get involved. I'm like, what are we going to have them get involved with?
Right.
Type of thing.
What do you think was holding them back from, like, what am I trying to say?
Representation.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's not a whole lot of people out there that are like, oh, no gays in the outdoor space. They exist. They very much do. But I'll speak for myself. Like, when we grow up and we're so used to hiding ourselves, my go-to is to assume that I'm not welcomed until I get like a very clear, explicit invitation.
And I'm sure there's like a safety factor.
Exactly.
There too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when you see other queer people in the outdoors, or suddenly, like, hey, those are my people. How do I get involved? Because I'm being represented there deliberately.
Yeah. Yeah. And for somebody like really both of you who, I mean, calling a spade, both of you are very straight passing, like, and that, I don't mean that as any sort of critique. That's just the way you all choose to present yourself, and that's great. And so for the two of you to feel a little bit nervous about engaging with those spaces and waiting for their representation, how much more would somebody feel that way if they prefer not to be as straight passing, if they kind of want to live into the fullness of who they are, which includes a unique aesthetic or a unique approach, whatever, and so, yeah, I really hear that representation element, and I see how important that has to be, just with all of this. And so anyway, you started getting all these messages about how do I get involved, and you're trying to figure out how can I get you involved, and so what did that look like early on?
Early on, it was like, do I want you involved? Because I didn't know what this was turning into,
Right, yeah.
Nothing against about any of the people that were reaching out to me, but I was doing my photography business and everything, and, I didn't know if I wanted it really to be anything too much more. But because of the messages that we were receiving, we knew there's a need here that is not being met, that somehow needs to be met.
Totally.
And so we had two people, one in Fort Worth, Texas, and one in Houston, that these two guys would just adamant about we're doing something with you, like we
Whether
don't know
you want
what.
it or not.
Right.
And it was just like, finally, after a while, it was just like, we thought, what if we did an ambassador program and just people could lead events in their own communities and stuff. And so we decided that we were going to give it a shot, not having a slightest idea of what we were doing.
This is why I love you, because you're exactly like me. It's like, do I know what I'm doing? Nope. Am I going to do it anyway? Yep. Like,
We're 6 years in,
here
and
we
I
are.
still don't know if I'm doing.
Not a clue, but it's working.
Yeah.
Right.
Something's
right.
working.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, those guys did their first events, and the one in Houston was telling me about his event, and he did fishing. And now this was coming into COVID too. So that affected my wedding photography business greatly, which gave me more time to focus on LGBT. Again, at the time, we are now officially LGBTQ Outdoors. But to focus on the organization, and getting outside was one thing that we could still do in small groups. And so I think that that's one of the things why we grew so fast, honestly. But he did this fishing event, and he had lesbian couples. He had an older guy that was married to a woman that wasn't out and didn't think he was ever going to come out. He had just this wide variety, white, black, Hispanic people. He had some that were fly fishing, some were conventional fishing. And I think we had 10 or 12, whatever the max was that we could do outside legally in the state of Texas at the time there. And they were underneath the bridge at one point fishing, listening to Britney Spears, of course. And he asked them, how many of you have ever gone fishing with another queer person before? And all of them said they never have done that before.
Wow.
And when he told me that, like, we were both like pretty much crying on the phone,
Aww.
And that's not because it's like we can't go fishing with straight people, like, God forbid, But it was just something that you don't hear a lot happening in our community, where you're getting to enjoy something you really truly enjoy doing with a group of people that you can relate to.
Right.
Yeah. That's
And be like fully authentic. You don't have to censor yourself or anything like that. And that's one of the reasons why I got excited to start throwing ideas around with Justin. Is he had the stereotype where queer people don't like the outdoors. My angle was, for some reason, there's this idea that like queer people are dainty or delicate or weak, and like having thousands of queer people go on like multi-mile hikes or like climbing mountains and everything that they do with our events. Like, these are some of the strongest people I've ever come across.
Oh, absolutely.
Like physically, mentally, like they are some badass people. I can say that.
Yeah. We're permitting badass.
Sweet.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, half the lesbians I know could whip my ass. Like, they're terrifying. Yeah, I love them dearly, but woo. But no, I hear what you're saying too. That perception of the daintiness, the weakness, what they're not interested in being outside. Well, that's really reductive. Yeah. Because there are plenty of people that are like my spouse, who I love very much, who, she really wants plumbing everywhere that she goes. And she'll do some outdoor things, and she'll even surprise you a little bit with how she'll kind of dive into them. But then at the end of the day, she wants running water and a shower and doesn't want to go to the bathroom outside. Those are her standards. Yeah. And she is, I think represents some percentage of people's outdoors desires. But like, I didn't really grow up in a super outdoorsy family. There just wasn't a lot of opportunity for me. So I came at it a lot later in life. I was probably late teens, early 20s before I really started engaging in anything like camping or whatever. To this day, I still have done almost no hunting in my life. And that's not for lack of effort or desire. It's just the opportunities just haven't been there. But like, even for me, I'm a straight dude, who physically, aesthetically, kind of, people would probably make some assumptions about, being a bit outdoorsy, whatever, just because of how I present myself. But I really didn't come to have an appreciation for outdoor spaces until a little bit later in life. And what I realized really quickly was how medicinal it was for me,
Mm-hmm.
and how I really like even to this day, like we're very spoiled in that we have a travel trailer now, and so I get to utilize that, and that's how I get my wife to go camping with me, because it has a toilet and a shower.
There are no noise canceling headphones that can replace the peace of being outside in the
Ooh,
silence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that calm, that just I don't have a way to describe it.
Yeah. No, but
It's
you're
a
right.
whole other side to this too that is so beneficial because I know when I was coming out, I had no idea where to go find community. So I went to the gay bars,
Right.
which for me, I've never had a substance abuse issue or tendencies or anything like that. But for a lot of people, when they're coming out, you know, it's easy to go down a dark tunnel, especially like in my situation, like family rejects you, church rejects you, friends reject you, you know, you don't have anybody else. And then you're trying to find yourself in a drinking community, you know, going to the bars.
I'd be deep into the bottle too, man.
Yeah.
Like,
This is a great place for people to be able to find that community in a healthy way that lowers blood pressure and gives you mental stability and just fresh air and just peace and calmness without all the noise. So yeah, that's a whole other side of it.
I love it. There's 2 sunsets that I've seen in my life that stand out so vividly. Like one was in San Marcos. We'd gone tubing down the Guad, and it was gorgeous. The other one was in Edinburgh, Scotland. Just like, you know, it was amazing. But like those kind of moments, you know, going back to like, you know, spirituality and whatnot, like those are the moments that speak very, very clear and loudly to my heart. And like, I seek that out. Like we have a nature reserve. It's relatively close to our house. It doesn't require a whole lot of effort. Like I can drive there. I'm there in 2 minutes. I can walk around the trees. I can hear a little bit of the highway going by, which sort of sucks, but,
You do what you can in the city.
like I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
But like you hear the birds and the crickets and the wind going through the leaves. Like it's just it's so good for my soul.
For me, it puts things in perspective. You know, it makes you really feel like an ant on this planet. You know, and realizing that like even just being able to look up in the middle of nowhere and see millions of stars and just realizing like we are just such a speck on a planet and a galaxy and all of that, and really being able to put in perspective your problems and things that are kind of going on in the world, and realizing that there's so much more to life than the shit we deal with every day.
Right.
You know?
So you guys had,
and you just, I'm sorry, and you just can't get that anywhere else.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
so you have this first event in Houston, and you have this revelatory moment about how, you know, these people have never gone fishing next to another queer person. And so at that point, I'm imagining that you're starting to see some opportunity here, like to really create experiences. So kind of take me through the next year or two of like, how did things grow? What did you want out of those next couple of years, and how did it actually come to pass?
Knowing what I wanted, we wanted, I think we didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, like all of this has just been this snowball effect of jumping on and riding fast and trying to figure it out as we go, which has been fun and scary and confusing and great and all the things all at once. But we knew that because of how many people were reaching out, this was a great way, the ambassador program specifically, which we now say is the heartbeat of our organization, is a great opportunity because it can go anywhere in the country, and we can start a chapter there with an ambassador who can get people outside and be able to have these same experiences, which so many people were craving. So we started developing that more, but we also at the same time was like, this has to be something. Like it can't just be this website, Instagram thing. And I was like, it's going to be a business, you know, like because of my past experience. Like there was no question about it in my mind. And as we are diving into trying to form this to have some kind of legal being here,
Structure of some sort.
structure, more and more people were just like, it really needs to be a nonprofit. I'm just like, nope.
No.
And then
You
good
start
friend.
breaking out in hives.
Right. Basically.
But no, there's a good friend of mine. His name's Justin Bubenik. He does fly fishing and just amazing guy up in Oregon, who is a lawyer. And we were talking a lot during this time, and he is probably the one that really convinced me finally, like, it really needs to be a nonprofit. So I was like, okay. So we did. And I'm like, well, we need at least 3 board members. So I'm like, it's me, it's you, and one other person who at the time was not even outdoorsy, good business girl, but not really outdoorsy. But I'm like, I know I can trust you.
Sure.
And that's the way I had to run it for a couple of years, because I was just like, I got to build that trust back before we could go farther. But we turned it into a nonprofit. The chapters continue to grow. We have around 50 ambassadors right now, all across the U.S., even in Alaska. And they are doing events that are getting our community out there. I think.
So when you say 50, is it one in every state?
Nope, it's not.
Okay.
We're not in every state yet. Some have more than others. Texas, I think we have probably about 5 ambassadors in Texas. Our biggest chapters by far are Texas, Colorado, New England. We kind of put them all into one. New York, Michigan are all some of our bigger ones that are just fantastic. And then we got a lot of other ones that are getting started and doing well as well. But it's a building process, especially when you're the first person in an area trying to get it started. You know, it's a lot. But yeah, it's been going great. As far as the ambassador program goes, I don't know when you want to dive into other aspects of it too, but we ended up starting outdoor LGBTQ Outdoor Fest as well.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So this came about because 2021, I think, was the first year we did it.
Yeah. Well, we started talking in 2020, but
we wanted to. We started having these chapters. Well, how can we bring everybody together for a big event? So we decided to do this 3-day event at a gay campground here in Texas. And we wanted to do workshops so people could get hands-on experience on new outdoor activities that they could take back. We had activities that they could participate into as well, kayaking, fishing, stuff like that, because we were right on a lake. And then there's the community aspect of it as well. And it went great. Loved it. Like,
What was participation like?
We had 26?
Okay.
26, 27?
like
that went on that first one?
all in with the staff, we were close to about 40. It
Okay.
was the first year.
We would probably fight on that one, but that's okay. And
So
then,
give or take 26 to 40.
somewhere around there.
Okay. Okay. And it's grown to.
We had getting close to 100
Okay.
this year all in, and we did it this year in upstate New York in the Catskills. It was beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
We've started having people come international to it. from
Oh,
other
wow.
countries. Norway, we had somebody from
Do you have international
Italy.
ambassadors?
no.
The nervous
I
laughter.
only laugh because we tried, and it's just was too hard because we do release forms for everybody too. So trying to keep up with release forms in different languages and laws and everything, we would just like if we ever do that, we reeled it back pretty quick. But if we ever did that, we would have to have somebody that kind of specializes in global
That makes
organization
sense.
to be able to figure that out, because it was
And
a
I'll be
lot.
honest, I don't know the rules and laws around 501c3 things,
either.
like and how and all of that complexity.
Yeah. So I mean, we do have. I'm trying to think if we do currently do, but we've had chapters in Canada before, because that's that's easy enough.
Close enough.
Close
Yep.
enough. Yeah.
America's hat.
Yeah. But yeah, and we're excited to see it. Next year's going to be in Colorado in September. We try to do it in September each year, and I don't think we've done it one time yet where at the end of it, people weren't coming up to us crying, being like, this was the most amazing thing, and didn't realize what they were getting into, thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a fun thing to do," and then it really greatly impacts their life in a deep way.
That was such a surprise to me. Like on our first one, I thought we were just setting up some workshops, get some education, try out some archery before you have to go buy the gear, or just, whatever. But there was I've coined the term Outdoor Fest magic. There's something that happens when this community comes together and you feel safe and you can just be you.
Yes.
You can be the you that you can't always be when you're in public. And there's just this instant sort of family vibe. And there's this depth, and it's really, really, really beautiful because you have these people from the queer world is very much a spectrum in identity and hair color and height and just all the things, it very much mimics how nature is, by the way. And we're just all together.
Right.
And everybody gets to be weird together. And it's just freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why there's so many letters in LGBT, because it's not a monolith. It's not an archetype. It's a big group of people.
Yeah.
However, I hear you, and I wish more people could see that magic you're talking about, because I experienced that in around 2018 when the free mom hugs thing was starting to come out with the pride parades and the pride festivals. And so that year in Louisville, I participated, and that was life-changing. That was I mean, it was a couple hours out of my day and a T-shirt.
Right.
And I came back home with just overwhelmed emotions and people being excited. And I've mentioned this before, I'm not a hugger, but I was hugging everybody. And I mean, I had so much of other people's glitter and sweat and all the things on me, but I loved it. And just, there were people, it's kind of for fun, just giving hugs and all that. And then you have people who would not let go.
Yep.
And they would tell me their stories of, I haven't hugged my mom in decades, and these were adults. Some of these were children, teenagers and things like that, who were just alone. And it was I just wish sometimes that people could see and experience that and really understand that when it comes to legislation for things especially the stuff going on in Arlington, that is impactful, and people just don't understand what that does when you add those things to a community and or when you take those things away from a community. I'll be honest, I probably would have never seen it if I hadn't experienced it myself. But we need more people to see this is the devastation that is being caused, and that we need to be more inclusive and have more of these organizations and things where, maybe somebody on the outside doesn't understand why outdoors is such a important aspect for certain communities. But when you're within those, that's when you really see kind of, what's going on.
And education is such a huge part of that, because I always say, I don't know what I don't know, and that is so much with the straight community that hasn't ever been involved with the queer community. You mentioned with what was going on in Arlington, where it's now basically legal to discriminate. And I was reading through some of the comments, which don't do that.
No.
As a cesspool, man.
But I was reading through the comments, and this one person was like, good, because they need to be treated just like everybody else. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We need this law so we are treated like everybody else.
Right.
Yes.
So that's messed up when you have to have laws so that we can have equal rights.
Right.
And people just don't understand. And a lot of it's ignorance. Like you said, there needs to be education. Some of it is willful ignorance.
Right.
I just wish people took the time to understand.
Yeah.
Well, and we're open-minded enough to accept that maybe they don't know everything about how the world works. Before I was at the church where we all met, I didn't have a lot of exposure to the queer community at all. Like I didn't grow up. I grew up in a very conservative environment, a very hyper evangelical Christian space, and I was in many ways protected from. I was shielded from anything that wasn't heterosexual because that was dangerous. Is how it was couched to me. Was this is not okay. And I remember, engaging with some of the community at that church for the first time. And first of all, the irony wasn't lost on me that I was having my exposure to this community through a church. Like that was not something I ever expected to happen. But I mean, you guys know this already, but just for the benefit of anyone else listening, like those were incredibly formative times for me because it disrupted a lot of my assumptions about who the queer community was and how it operated and whether or not it was actually as dangerous as I was told and whatever. And so to your point about exposure and people just being alongside that community and understanding it better, that was what had to happen for me. Like I had to have that experience for myself and go, oh, wait a minute. Everything I was taught about this is wrong. Everything that I thought I understood about this community is incorrect. And the more exposure I have, the more relationships I build, the more time I invest, the more I'm like, wow, this is actually someplace where, like, as a straight person, like, I see the need for the queer community to have people like me as advocates and things like that. But also, that sense of advocacy has to be driven by the real needs of that queer community, not what I think those needs are. And so, for me, it took a long time for me to sort of unravel a lot of very bad education that I had and sort of
or lack of education.
And it was really just years and years of soul searching and conversations and relationships and things like that. And so, now at this phase of my life, like I can't imagine operating without a healthy affection for my non-hetero community because, man, it just makes everything better. It's more fun.
I'm telling you.
We're fun.
Yes.
It blows my mind how demonized the community is because I'm like, y'all have never been to a gay bar. You've never been to a pride parade. You've never been to a LGBTQ event. Like, it is a blast. The music is amazing. The people are amazing. It's so much
costumes.
fun. When the queer community can be themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, it is so much fun. It is so much fun. And I'm like, y'all missing out. Like, y'all stay mad behind Facebook. Like, like, we're going to go have fun.
Right. Well, and I don't, for me, like, there was I like to joke about this, and I say this with tremendous affection, but I love to joke that, like, man, there is nothing in the world more productive than two motivated lesbians. Like, it is unbelievable what they can accomplish.
Okay, hold
on.
We don't have representation here for that.
I know. With love and affection to that group, I know. But anyway, all that to say, like, it's interesting to think about the community that you guys are building, and I'm wondering, like, what are some things what's a couple of, like, real world examples of times where you've been surprised by your community, the community that's been built by LGBTQ Outdoors? And, what are some sort of experiences that stand out to you? It's like, man, I really wasn't expecting that at this event, but what are some things that have happened
or
to
the
you?
things that would not have happened if you hadn't pursued?
That's a great way to couch it, too.
So I got one. We are 100% not a dating service. So
That is not the point here.
Just like LinkedIn.
Right, yeah. Apparently people are meeting on LinkedIn now.
Yeah, right.
I know. Today I learned.
This sounds a lot more fun than that. But
It is.
totally not the point of what we do. But there was a lesbian couple who met at one of our Outdoor Fest events who recently got married this year.
Awesome.
So, I mean, would they have found each other in life with, fate later on? Maybe. Who knows? I hope so.
Yeah.
But, like,
It's just a catalyst.
yeah.
there's a number too that are couples that are dating, and then outside of that, like people that have just found, like, hiking buddies and adventure partners and stuff like that. And I'll see on Facebook sometimes somebody will be going to some part of the country that they knew that someone that they went on an adventure trip with is now in that area, and they all get together and meet up, and I'm just like,
Aw.
okay, this is really cool.
Yeah.
There's tons of those stories. Outdoor Fest last year, 2024, Colorado.
Okay.
We were doing some interviews and stuff, and there's this one guy that we were interviewing to be able to use for video, and he's trans, lives in Colorado, and he was just like, I've never really felt proud of who I was or been able to find my people before, but this event let me feel like I am now proud and I have found my people. And I'm just like,
Right. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
like if everything that we did was just for that one person, worth it.
Right.
You know?
Totally. Yeah.
But to think about all the people that have been impacted by it.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy who has come to 2 of our Outdoor Fest now. He learned about us through our podcast. And like, he doesn't have people in his area that he can hang out with. So like, we were it. And so I think 4 days out of the year, you know, he has a place where he can come and be like himself. And he's coming, I think, this next year he has a great hobby.
Because there's just no way we can keep up with everything that's going on now. So there's a lot that sometimes I don't know what's going on or whatnot.
You
and
show
that's
up and you're like, well, okay.
awesome. Great. I didn't have to worry about that or put it together.
Because
Great.
we've grown into a team of how many that run the ambassador program?
There's a total of 6 that just run that program, but it's all because some of them are volunteers, some of them are very part-time.
Right.
So that's why there's so many of them, but it's an amazing group. And then we have a whole committee that takes care of LGBTQ Outdoor Fest as well. And we're turning our board from an advisory board into a working board. So I'm
Nice.
getting really excited because that's going to take more off of my plate.
Yeah.
So I'm ignorant here. What does that mean?
So before, our board basically were people that get to be on the board and be like, yeah, this is good, this isn't, let's do this, let's not do that. Now we're going to be having like a director of technology who's going to be taking care of all of our like data, as you know, and workflows and CRMs, just all of that kind of stuff.
If she needs a volunteer.
We're going to
or
have
he.
we're going to have somebody that is our communications director. We're going to have somebody that is a fundraising and developing director on our board.
Nice. Okay.
And then they're going to have teams of volunteers underneath them too to pass off. But the funny thing about this all, funny not funny kind of thing, is like so often people are just like, this is a Facebook group. Why do you need so many people? Like, why do you need money? I'm like,
It's so not.
but that's the thing. They don't. We're trying to educate, and that's one reason why communications director is going to help us get the messaging out more. But people just don't realize that we're a national nonprofit that takes a lot of money and a lot of people to be able to make this all happen. And it's not just one little meetup group type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we talk about how you guys are funded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
So,
definitely-
how are you funded right now?
Poorly.
Poorly.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
So it was funny when we
Just
start.
couch change, like,
Hey, we're searching your couch before we leave. Like,
good luck.
so when we started, I was blown away. Companies would come to us and be like, "We have this grant we want to give you. We have a foundation we want to give you money
Oh,
from.
wow.
We have product.
Wow.
You know, it was we were something different that people wanted to be a part of, and because of that, we never really.
Well-intentioned? Were they well-intentioned?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Absolutely. It was easy to get the money, and we weren't charging anything for any of our events or really pushing donations hard or anything like that, because we were able to pretty much fund what we were doing at the time with the money that was coming in from corporate donors.
Nice.
Yeah, until 2025 hits. And in the beginning of the year, we start hearing whispers about DEI programs and DEI giving being rolled back, and we're like, is this going to affect us? You know, hopefully not.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, it did.
Yeah.
Each quarter that we went by, it just became a more of a, oh shit type of a situation, to honestly, right now we're kind of hanging on by our fingernails,
Yeah.
really, and we're trying to turn this ship of relying on corporate donors, which those that are partners with us are amazing, incredible, and we love them and so thankful for them. But we also need our community to step up and join us too. So we started a membership campaign called the Trailblazer Society.
Oh, nice.
People get some cool perks on whatever level they sign up on.
That's smart.
And that's what we are really focusing on now, because to become fully sustainable where we need to be and to be able to pay the staff and everything it takes to run this, we need our community to be able to step up, and everybody, if everybody does a little bit, then it goes a long ways.
Yeah, no, that's huge. So, do you see any light at the end of that tunnel as far as, any sort of a corporate involvement, or at this point, are you sort of letting that piece of it go and choosing to move forward, relying on more of the Trailblazer program?
No, we definitely want our corporate partnerships as well. I've had a couple close people in the organization that have really helped us, encourage me, and this is some things that we can do, such as turning the board into a working board and some things like that, that is going to make things a lot better for us in the long run. But I do think the overall secret to us being sustainable long term is those that are active with us giving.
Contributing.
Sure. Yeah. So,
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
I was like, which shouldn't be a tough ask, because they've already experienced the benefits
Right.
of the organization in a way that, so far, guys, we've been able to do all of these things and have all of these events and look at how much this has enriched your lives and your communities and all of those things. And now it's like, now we need your help because of
The world's changed.
You would think that would be easy, but what we get a lot of pushback on is, I'm just going on a hike. Why do we need to give money if I'm just going on a hike? And they're not. It's on us, and we're working on changing it. But the education of what it is taking to run a nonprofit like this. I mean, we have 8 different.
That just sounds like a marketing
programs.
problem. We'll work on that.
We have 8 different programs that we use just to run our organization. That's monthly fees for.
Right.
And so that's just one tiny aspect of all of it, let alone the accountant and lawyers and everything that we need.
Yeah, to actually just keep it running. So, kind of taking a step back from that a little bit, what kind of stands out to you as sort of a favorite trip or favorite destination? Like, if you had to pick any one of those that just, I don't know, what blew you away?
Oh, that's really hard. I have
All of them.
I have 2, but both for drastically different reasons. One of them was a very, very early event we'd had in the North Texas area in the middle of COVID. But we rented kayaks and went out on White Rock Lake.
That sounds like fun.
And we weren't sure how many people to expect. And I think more showed up than what we were expecting. But it was so
Pile
cool.
into the kayak.
Just one, because we had already been really isolated.
Yeah.
But being in a kayak, you're still kind of social distance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
But
did that.
you can still be around each other, and there are people out there who've never kayaked before. There was a guy who did stand-up paddleboard who had never done it before,
No.
and just so crazy successful. My own personal favorite event, I mentioned it earlier. We went pack-rafting on one of our adventure trips in Alaska this summer, and it was a lot of work, and it was cold, but holy cow, that was a blast.
Yeah.
And getting to go to Alaska for the first time, and the fact that the sun stayed up in the summer to 11 o'clock, it was really, really disorienting.
Right.
But just getting to go and do that, again, with some amazing people, with my husband, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, that is such a tough question. I mean, I think always the latest LGBTQ Outdoor Fest that happens is my kind of my new favorite one.
That
so
tracks.
right now, just New York when we were up there, and I had never even been to New York. So it was just incredible. The
Were you up-
Catskills were beautiful.
Okay.
We were right on this amazing campground that had these beautiful lakes and just the mountains and everybody coming in from all over and just having this incredible group together. Just
The trees were just starting to change color. So
yeah.
The
That
best.
is a bucket list.
That
Which
for
it's
me.
funny
Best.
because somebody recently was like, "So the trees really hadn't changed then yet, had they?" And I was like, "About more color than what we get here in Texas."
Right. Yes. Yeah.
We're just now
Already.
getting color change.
Yeah.
which is-
Yeah, which is late December.
yeah.
Like,
Were you near Niagara?
we're not that far north.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Alaska would probably be really high up there. We did the first trip up there last year, 2024, and we kind of struggled. There was this first year of actually trying adventure trips, and we did one to Alaska and one to Big Bend. Neither of them filled up, and Alaska, we barely scraped by to be able to get enough people to go. I think there was a total of 6 of us, including myself. And had an incredible time.
Yeah.
And we had a proof of concept now. The board was on board with it, and let's try it next year and see how it goes. And all of the trips that we did this year filled up,
Wow.
including Alaska. We had 18,
Yeah.
I
Whoa.
think.
That's a big jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
18 that went to Alaska, and it was amazing. We split it up with 2 main focuses. One with pack rafting, which is amazing. First year, we roll these pack rafts up and hike way out, like you were describing earlier, way out. And we'll camp one night, then we jump on the river and pack raft it out the next day. It was amazing.
I bet that was freezing.
Well, the water was cold, but the weather was beautiful.
Oh,
Like
okay,
it was
okay.
beautiful.
Nice.
Like highs in the 60s, like coming from July in Texas to that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I was fine with it.
Yeah.
And then hiking, so they could kind of choose which choose your adventure type of a thing.
Yeah.
with it.
And
But it
the
was
pack
amazing.
rafting part, just to throw it out there, we were guided by 2 highly certified, highly trained pack rafting instructors.
Oh, y'all weren't just raw dogging it?
We
There's
also
some
weren't
water.
hitting huge rapids either. We were like class 1.
You weren't
like-
Christopher
right.
McCandlessing it?
No,
Yeah.
not that extreme. For,
Sleeping in a bus in the middle of
yeah.
nowhere?
That would be fun. Not that.
No, no.
No, all of our adventure trips, we focus really on bringing in like somebody who's an expert
Yeah.
in like the field and whatever.
Well, I'm
we're
sure
participating.
safety and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. Like, and we don't take that lightly. They went up to Glacier National Park and had a tour guide collective that just told them everything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, with anything like this, when you're sort of creating community and being pioneers, which y'all in every sense of the word are being pioneers, there's always it's fun to look at the impact that you're having on the community that you're serving. But I always like asking the question of like, how has this made you different? Like, how is starting all of this and running these trips and meeting these people and being a part of this community, how's it changed you?
We were just down in San Antonio for a big event called the Running Event. We were invited to be a partner with them, where all these outdoor retailers came in, and I had the opportunity to speak to them, and they asked me to speak on belonging in the retail setting. For me, belonging took on a huge change when I had a conversation with my mom, which very rarely, none of my family likes to talk about me being gay. Just don't. Like, we are not talking about that, type of a thing. But one time after coming out, I wanted her to really understand the struggle that I had. And I thought if she would understand a little bit about what it's been like my whole life and how close I was to checking out,
Right.
she might have this aha moment. And instead, in sharing that, her response was, well, it might have been easier to have a kid that committed suicide than to have a gay kid. And so
God.
I was like, oh,
That's so disappointing.
that's where we're at right now. And so that started to change a whole perspective of belonging to me. And that's what this community does. It lets people belong. It's, you know, it is not easy. It is not easy running this organization and building something.
I literally still can't breathe.
And then,
as a parent,
Right. I just can't imagine a situation in which I would say that to my kid. Like, it's terrible.
It's so disheartening.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it is so painful.
yeah, and there's things that through my journey I haven't always understood in our own community. But I knew that I didn't want to be like her. And so I always approached everything that I could do as open-minded as I could to make everybody feel like they belong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
That was really like,
trigger warning
Sorry.
afterwards. But,
woo! Okay.
but yeah, so I think that would be, for me, like the biggest thing is just the sense of belonging that this provides people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like along those lines, one of the things that I've discovered for myself, and this is really kind of how I approach the organization, is that like we are a community builder wrapped in the outdoors, like wrapping paper. Like we get people together to do random activity outdoors, but what we've become really good at, and like we've seen the results from, are just people connecting. And we hear those stories from people who have had rough childhood or difficult relationships with their parents, or whatever the situation may be. And also the diversity within our own community. You know, I kind of touched on it earlier. Like it really mimics for me, like nature and like how colorful and vibrant and just different, but how it all works together in like this beautiful, glorious way. And so getting to see that part of our community, which is why like a year or two ago, we went from LGBT outdoors to LGBTQ outdoors. Like when the world is pretty determined to, you know, exclude, we're doubling down. How can we make it even more clear that everybody in the queer community, and so adding that Q into our name, into all of our logos and our legal filings, and it was a lot, but if it helps one more person be seen or feel welcome, then it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah. Well, the hard reality is, and you know, we are not a podcast with a massive listener base. However, we are a podcast with, I think, a somewhat influential listener base, and certainly there are those that I would have absolutely zero problem challenging to help provide resources for the work that you guys are doing. And so, what I would love is to, in as clear a way as you can, help people understand how they could financially contribute to what you're doing. And I do mean specifically financially. I mean, I know contributing time is helpful. I know that volunteer hours are helpful and all of that stuff. And I feel like you have the pools of people to draw from for those things. And so I want to directly challenge the listeners that we do get to talk to. And we did just recently break 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like so we're not, that's all her. I have had nothing to do with it.
No easy task.
Yeah. That's all her. And we're also active on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and things like that. But YouTube has been a real growth engine for us in a way that has really surprised me. And so with just zero hesitation and no apologies whatsoever, I would love to challenge our listener base to be a part of the solution to what you guys are facing, because the lack of DEI initiatives has a trickle-down effect, and it impacts things exactly like you. And, you know, we have sat here and heard story after story after story of how you are impacting the community you're a part of and changing individual lives within that community. And I can't think of anything more worthy of charitable giving than that. And so, and it's also not lost on me that this episode is going to be released right before the end of the 2025 calendar year. And so if you're looking, listener, for an opportunity for a fully tax deductible financial contribution, I would challenge you directly to be a part of the solution for LGBTQ Outdoors. So all that being said, how do people engage with you in that way?
Yeah, there's a few different ways. So if you are a company or a business that is interested in partnering with us and being a partner, I'd love to be able to meet with them, talk to them, and we have a sponsorship deck. I'm happy to get to them, and they can go over it, and we can talk about specific levels and all of that.
Yeah.
If individuals are out there and they've got the money for that and they want to do that, great, bring it on as well. We have a GoFundMe that's going on right now that we launched as an end of the year campaign that's probably going to go through February. That is really helping us try to get by right now. We could really use help with this GoFundMe. It's easy to find if you just search GoFundMe and LGBTQ Outdoors, it will pop up. So that's a great way.
I straight Venmo'd you.
Yeah, you
You
did.
did.
Yes.
Which works as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
So thank you.
is our Venmo just LGBTQ Outdoors, I think, as well?
And
Yeah,
I'll link
if anybody
all
wanted
of this in the show notes, so
Yeah.
people will be very easy to find.
Yeah.
where
And that's
to-
great.
where to
Thank
go.
you.
Yes, absolutely.
If
absolutely.
people want to become a monthly donor and become a member, just go to our website, lgbtqoutdoors.com. Right on the top, there's a little become a member, and you can see different levels that you can become a monthly donor with as well. Some fun little perks in there as well. Yeah.
Because it's not about so much getting outside, and it's like you mentioned, belonging. It is that sense of belonging. If you've ever not had that, like you don't know what that feels like. So this is cultivating those areas and those spaces in which you guys have created that build that sense of belonging for people where they can't find it anywhere else.
Yeah. I can't think of anything more worthy of existence, and the I've joked often, that it's hard to make friends when you're a grown up anyway. It's just tricky. It's weird. And it does feel like dating almost, can I have your phone number? It's awkward and yeah, I don't know why it's that way, but it is that way. And so not only are you guys creating an opportunity for just freaking people to meet, but also for people that are experiencing life through similar lenses, and I have such affection and respect for what you guys are doing. And I've joked with both of you often that, let me know when you got the Straight Ally program that I can come and hang out. I got a travel trailer, like we can use it as a kitchen or whatever. Like, but
I know we're getting serious FOMO. Like,
yeah.
that sounds like fun. I want to go.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to get them involved.
Yeah, no, we certainly can.
No, but like if it is sacred, for you guys to
Right.
keep it within that community, I absolutely understand that. But I'm not gonna lie and say it doesn't sound like a ton of fun.
Dude, I want to go camping with a bunch of gays. That sounds amazing. Like, sign me all the way up.
I'll say this under the radar.
Right.
The more that we've learned about what we're doing, we do want everybody to feel inclusive, and so we don't want to exclude anybody. So we aren't turning people away.
Right. Yeah.
But you're not
Based
going
on
to
who
come
they
in.
are.
You're not going to
So-
come in though and act a fool and
Right.
Right.
As
No.
long as
Make
you're being
people
chaperoned
uncomfortable.
by a queer person.
You have to have a chaperone.
Yeah.
That's queer.
I'm okay. I mean,
No.
okay.
That works.
But we do
with a
love our-
sponsor. To be sponsored by.
Yes, yes.
That's funny.
We do love our allies, though.
Yeah.
Like for real, that's one of the greatest gifts I think some of us can have is just knowing that there are straight people out there that are cool with us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that I have personally felt a responsibility to do, is, especially in the last few years, is to be more outspoken about allyship, because what I've realized is that it in this weird sort of way, it's representation. It's like what you were talking about. Like once I have stepped out and said some of these things more publicly, I've seen other people in my own community be like, "Oh yeah,
I know there's so many more out there than
Yeah.
you realize.
oh yeah,
But they're just not outspoken about
Yeah,
it. They're
I'm
just
afraid
not-
to say something about it as well.
Yeah.
well, not even that. I think maybe it's just a matter of like they're just not connected to it, but they don't necessarily have like hard lines one way or the other with it. It's just
Yeah.
kind of they're more accepting than maybe we realize. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Well, if you are a queer person listening to this, we certainly encourage you to just jump on and Google LGBTQ Outdoors. And you are welcome at this podcast too. And you're welcome at their podcast. And you should totally go to some of their events and experience all that they have to offer. Gents, I'm just so proud of you. And I love what y'all are doing. And, I love seeing an idea that was crafted so organically become something that is so impactful with all of the community that needs that impact in such a real way. And so I really hope for all of our sakes that we end up with, maybe some social shifts and some political shifts in the future that allow for something like y'all to be more successful, yes, but also more broadly accepted. In whatever sense that means. So is there anything that we have not covered that you want to make sure that people know and understand about LGBTQ Outdoors?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I will say that registration for LGBTQ Outdoor Fest is open right now.
Perfect.
So if people are interested in learning more about that, we are still building our instructors, so we don't have all that lined up yet. And that's why there is an early bird discount going on right now.
Yeah. So what is the gay agenda, by the way?
Right.
Is there a gay agenda?
Nap time.
Nap time and puppies, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I heard something about Golden Girls once. But,
There might be something about girls.
yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But that people can sign up for our newsletter off of our website and follow us on Instagram, LGBTQ Outdoors. Would love to get connected.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, dudes. It's been a joy and a pleasure. And I meant every word of what I said to every person listening to this. Please, if it's $10, $20, if you're looking for a sizable end of year donation, I can't think of a better place to park your money than LGBTQ Outdoors. So please, let's embarrass them with some success in a time that has been rocky. And so, anyway, thank you so much for joining us at Premeditated Opinions. We are thrilled to have been in your ear holes this week. We hope that you enjoyed us in there. And we'll be back next Tuesday with more stuff that we'll try and make as good as this.
don't hold your breath.
Right.
Aim high, it's fine.
Well, that's it for Premeditated Opinions, where the thoughts were fully baked and only mildly regrettable. If you enjoyed today's episode, congrats on having truly excellent taste in podcasts and opinions. Following us on YouTube and Instagram is a quick and easy way to support us. So if you liked literally anything about today's episode, please like and subscribe.
Also, send this to someone who needs to feel seen, dragged, or both. We'll be back next week with more unsolicited insight and emotionally responsible spiraling. And until then, please stay hydrated and behave yourself in the comments. But if you don't, at least make us laugh.